And are you a performer? I know we get to talk a little bit about Broadway now. I wanted to make sure I didn't fail to
Yeah.
bring this up because you have written John and Jen, a musical that has is it still playing? I know it was revived
Yes.
recently.
Well, the original off-Broadway run was in 1995, so more than 20 years ago, obviously almost 25 years ago. But it still does get done. It gets done around the country pretty regularly. It gets done internationally to some degree. It had a revival in New York City a couple of years ago. I was never an actor. I've never been before the cameras or on stage, but I work in the theater business. I do advertising for Broadway shows, almost exclusively Broadway shows, which is very fun and very entertaining. It's also very stressful because I don't know how much you know about Broadway or your fans will know about Broadway, but Broadway's a tough business to make it in. Three quarters of all shows fail and lose their money. So when you have a product who has long odds of success, it can get pretty stressful, and the producers can get pretty stressful. But when you have a show that hits and is a incredibly successful creative piece and is successful commercially, that's the greatest thing in the world. But a lot of times we're trying to sell shows that people don't necessarily want to see, and that can be frustrating and challenging.
So a bunch of questions on the back of that. People don't know this about me, but I am a huge Broadway fan. If I could be anything other than a writer, it would be a performer, and not like a stoic Hoosier that maybe would sing in Oklahoma if it was absolutely required. No, cover me in glitter. I want to do Starlight Express. Put on some roller skates. Let's do this. That's in my heart, but the body will not allow. I do not have the talent. Anytime I've sung, and now my son, who I've been singing to since he was a baby, he's now 5. He's asking me politely, "Daddy, can we just listen to the computer sing the songs?" Fair enough. So it's not in the cards for me. It's fine. I'm having a nice life. But how does writing a book differ from writing a musical? And also, how does that? Well, let me start with that, and I'll ask you my second question after.
It's a good question. Since I haven't written a musical in a long time, it's hard for me to say craft to craft. But the one thing I will say is that creating a piece of theater, especially musical theater, is the most collaborative kind of artwork collaboration there is. You're not only writing with the in my case, I wrote the book and the lyrics, and my good friend Andrew Lippa was the composer of the music for John and Jen. And that's the initial collaboration. And then you go out and you go to a director and you collaborate with them about how to shape the material. And then the director brings in designers, and the whole physical aspect of the show is created. And then you get the actors, and every step of the way you're adding people to the collaborative process. And it's a social collaborative event. Whereas the process of writing essentially is one of isolation, as we all know. I know. People who are watching this and are writers know. It's basically between you and your computer, or you and your pad and pen, if you are still a romantic, old-fashioned writer that way. It's not something that is collaborative until you feel like the work is, if not done enough to show to the world. So you're not bouncing your work off your partner all along the way. And even though I haven't written a show in 20 some odd years, because I really kind of, after that show was written, I focused on my career and other things I was working on. I can still feel, and I still miss that act of collaboration. And it's as rewarding and wonderful as writing novels has been, writing children's novels has been. The one thing it hasn't given me is that beautiful act of collaboration, because even if you're collaborating with your editor, it's emails going back and forth at a glacial pace and an editor's note coming in. It's not a day after day sitting in the same room, banging out the material, kind of collaboration that the theater is, and that is something that if I ever get to write another show, I will be thrilled to get back to that collaborative process.
And then, I'm now caught up in the dream of how wonderful that must have been, working back and forth and writing a musical.
It is. It's kind of old-fashioned, and there's movies about, great collaborative teams, and there's a lot of great show business movies like The Bandwagon, where you see them hammering out a show. And it really is. We off into your room, and your partner's on the piano, and you're sitting at a desk, and you're throwing bat and stuff back and forth in real time. It's exhilarating.